Hello, I'm Natalia from Clockify, and today I'll be talking to Taz Zammit, the co-founder of Team Tanda app and TikTok creator. So I'm Natalia, and I'll be doing this interview today. And once again, thank you so much for joining us. So I'd like to start off the interview with just asking you basically, who is Taz Zammit and how would you describe yourself personally and professionally to someone who's maybe never heard of you?
Yeah, awesome. Well, like you said, my name's Taz. I'm 28 years old and from Australia. And I would probably describe myself as a very driven and creative person, both mixed into one. So I love doing, a lot of creative outlets. Like content is probably my biggest creative outlet at the moment, just creating videos. And I love putting like my analytical hat on for more of the business side of things, which I also get to do for work. So yeah, that's me.
That's nice. Thank you for your introduction and for letting us know a little bit more about yourself. So how did you come up with the idea to start your team Tanda app, and or was it like more a great minds think alike sort of thing?
Yeah, so basically myself and my partner have a TikTok account together, and we started creating videos on there during the COVID lockdowns in Australia. And it was just for fun, and we had our personal accounts too, but the couples account seemed to get some traction and it grew quite quickly. So fast forward to now, this is our full-time job together, and we have over 580,000 followers on TikTok. So
Wow.
just being able to, yeah, it's incredible, and it blows my mind every day that that many people have hit the follow button. But we like to live stream and connect with the people who follow us. We actually call them team. We don't call them followers. So we love connecting with the team through live chatting, and it just the chat box is a little bit too small to get to know people personally. So we wanted to move everyone to a space where they could get to know each other, we can get to know them, which brought us to creating an app. So now there's like a community forum in there that they can all chat together. And we also put a lot of bonus content on there that we don't post onto like our main channels, more of like the behind the scenes and things like that.
Oh, cool. So they get like an exclusive part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's so much content that we film that just doesn't make the cut sometimes, but it's still really good. So to be able to share that with people who want to see it, it's awesome. And the best part about it is they get to connect with each other. So we've seen friendships and relationships blossom through the app, which has been awesome.
Mhm. That's nice to hear. And so what are your like hopes in achieving with this online content, and how do people usually react to you talking about kinds of sensitive topics, right? Especially in today's age. So what are the
Yes.
reactions? Are they good and bad ones? Is it a mix of both?
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty lucky. On TikTok anyway, the community is very supportive. Even when our videos come up on random people's pages that have never seen us before, we usually don't get that much hate towards us. So we are very lucky. It's not the same for a lot of other LGBT creators out there. But and then during the live streams, our moderators keep the chat very safe so everyone can have fun and it's not like an arguing situation. But yeah, we would love to just continue creating content, making people happy, and just like allowing people to see a relationship that is different from, your standard, what you would see in like the movies and in your TV shows. We want people to see that two girls can be together and that's totally normal. And I think just by us posting our daily life, it kind of just achieves that without us having to say anything.
I understand. And
Mm.
so what would you
Yeah.
say are your community's challenges in 2023? And what about, are there any unique ones in Australia?
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard across the globe, to be honest. There are a lot of challenges in mental health. A lot of LGBT people find that their mental health is a lot worse off. It can come down to employment too. Sometimes I don't have the exact figures, but the employment figures can drop depending on different parts of the world that you can be in. We try and focus on the positive things about making people feel like it's okay to be yourself. Obviously, there's, you know, violence in some parts of the world, and laws if you do choose to be with someone of the same sex. So there's a lot of heaviness around the LGBT community, and we all feel that. So our space is kind of just that positive light where people can come and feel safe.
I understand. That's nice that you have a safe space for people. So when and kind of why did you settle for TikTok as your main outlet instead of like Instagram or like any other platforms? And what makes TikTok so popular, even more than Instagram, in your opinion?
I love TikTok personally because of the discoverability. So what that means is we started the account with absolutely no one knew who we were. And TikTok shows you to people who have similar interests. So it's just a great way to be discovered. And that's why we continue using the platform, because we're constantly meeting new people, and then we're able to like go on a deeper level with our community through the app. I think Instagram definitely has a place, and obviously has for a very long time. Brands continue to use it and put their money there. That's where the budget is. But I do see the tide shifting towards TikTok. We can see like Instagram trying to keep up and, you know, putting like reels out and things like that. But I'm not sure if the innovation is there still for Instagram. So we still do post on all platforms, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Pinterest. We're across them all. But I would definitely say TikTok is like our major platform, based on the views as well. So last month we achieved over 14 million views.
Wow,
and like 13 million. Yeah, I know. And 13 million came from TikTok. So it's like that's the place to be. And the great thing about it is your content lives on. So when we post on Instagram, it kind of gets lost after a few days. People aren't able to view it. But with TikTok, people are liking our videos from like when we first started 2 years ago. So it really has a good lifespan when you create content there.
Yeah, it's very evergreen. I've heard that it's much easier to grow on TikTok than it is on Instagram, as you just mentioned.
Very much, yeah.
So I can understand. Based on your experience and, you know, your millions and millions of views and followers, what do you think it takes to make a TikTok profile successful or like worth checking out?
Yeah, I would definitely say the number one thing is consistency. And I know that sounds so basic, but it's the thing that I would say contributed most to our following. Just us showing up every day and posting. We didn't always post a video a day. Now we do this full time. We can do that. And when we were in lockdown at one point, we were posting 4 times a day, which is just crazy. I don't know how we were producing content that fast, but we're down to 1 post a day. It's manageable for us, and for some people it might be 1 post a week, and that's totally fine too, as long as you're like giving value to your community or making people smile. I think it's worth showing up regularly, but then also like just getting in the chat and like communicating with the people that are engaging in your comment section. And if you're brave enough to go live streaming really changed the game for us. Like, I don't think our following would be as connected if we didn't go live. I feel like a lot of people would know little parts of us, but not feel like super involved. But the live streams take you into our house and into emotional times in our life. We've cried on the live streams and shared lots of stories there that just wouldn't work in a video on TikTok. So definitely, if you're brave enough and courageous, get on a live stream.
But what about if somebody's not brave enough, but they still want to do it? Do you have any tips how to break the ice and just do it?
Yeah, creating content and getting in front of a camera regularly, even if you don't post it because you feel like it wasn't right, just creating that content, you will eventually, you know how people say like, I hate the sound of my voice, and like they always cringe when they see themselves like talking to camera. It was like that for us at the start too. Like when me and my partner would make videos, we didn't post a lot of it, but now we're at the point where you kind of just you drop like what people's expectations of you are, and you're just like, I'm just gonna put it out there and be myself. And to be honest, those videos actually do the best. So it's not about being perfect, having a script, or like looking a certain way. It's just about being you. And I would just encourage you to like start small, start creating like a piece of content a week, and then once you feel confident, you know, you can ramp it up a little bit more too.
Okay, that sounds like good advice. So just be yourself is always the most important thing. I think
100%.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started your company in like mid 2020, right? So when COVID was like at its peak. So was the pandemic a tipping point for you and your girlfriend to start your company, or were like the other factors that influenced your decision? Was it your big TikTok following, or was it something else?
Yeah, well, like I said, we were doing this just as a hobby, just as not even a hobby. It was literally just posting on social media. Everyone kind of does it. So we didn't think anything of it, and definitely did not view it as a business until we hit 100,000 followers. And then we started getting emails from like global brands reaching out to us. And we were just shocked. Like, why would this, you know, fast food chain want to work with us? Like, how did they even find us? So when that started happening and we started doing our first kind of brand deals, that's when we realized, okay, we need to shift this to be an actual business. But we were both working full-time in other jobs. My partner was a makeup artist and managing a store, and I was a personal assistant. So we loved our jobs, and it was a big decision to step away from that safe career choice, especially during like COVID happening. But I'm glad that we did, and I'm glad that we view it as a business now, because it truly is. As fun as it is to create content, it does take up a lot of time, as a lot of people know, and we really try and dig into what makes a video special. So we're constantly looking at like the watch time and trends going on. So we do study social media a little bit more than just when you browse the For You page.
Well, it was a very brave decision, I think, especially as you said, in the middle of a pandemic. Very brave to leave a stable job. So well done for that.
Thank you.
So you just said that you worked as a personal assistant, and when were you still doing that when you were kind of getting Tanda Ventures off the ground? And what did you learn in like all of these different roles, and how did your experiences acquired during a personal assistant help you start your own business?
Oh, I had incredible experience working as a personal assistant. I used all of those skills into what I'm doing now. I was lucky enough that my boss and the person that I was the assistant for was just a fantastic man who opened up his whole like toolkit to me. And he really didn't gatekeep any of his skills and strategies or anything. He actually helped me like create that with him, because he didn't really have systems when I met him. He was just good at what he did. And I kind of came in and helped, you know, build out those systems for him so he could scale it and employ more people. And I got to do a bunch of different things working with him. He actually had a business with his partner too, which taught me a whole bunch of lessons in itself now that I'm working with my girlfriend. And yeah, I did everything from marketing to operations to booking flights and accommodation. So I've really got like a whole range of experience, which has been very helpful coming into starting my own company. And I don't know if I would have been able to go into it this smoothly without that prior experience. But when I was working as a personal assistant, myself and my partner were just doing TikTok in all the after hours that we had. So we did not have a weekend off. We were barely catching up with friends. It was just like Saturday and Sunday were for filming, and we were pretty exhausted. So I think now we've got a little bit more balance in our life, which is nice.
That's good to hear. That's good that you've found balance now after all the chaos.
Yes.
Good chaos.
Yes.
So you posted recently on social media that you use Clockify, and corresponding with our team, you mentioned that your former boss, the one that you just mentioned,
Yes.
who assisted as a personal assistant, asked you to compare time management apps. And after research, you settled for Clockify. So why did you
Yes.
decide to choose Clockify, and what tool, if any, did you use before that?
Yeah, we were working as a remote team, and I think there was like 4 of us at the time, so it was just a growing team. And my boss was very flexible with when we could work and allowed us a lot of freedom in choosing what we worked on in the day too, which was fantastic. So if I felt analytical, I could work on spreadsheets, and if I felt creative, I could do like something creative. And the problem with that was he just never knew what everyone was working on. It was kind of, the work was getting done, but he didn't know when he could collaborate with us or when we would be online. So a way of doing that, we first started with Excel sheets where we would like log our times, but it was such a headache, and people would forget, and it was just very complicated with the time zones too. So we moved into using Clockify for just whenever we're online, just hit the button, write in what you're working on, just so that the people in the business can see, like, if you're doing something similar, we can work together. So it was a new experience working remotely. And I think Clockify helped us massively to just become more of a team, really. Instead of us all doing individual tasks, we knew when people were online and things like that. And we actually used Clockify to like forecast the week ahead in terms of like when we thought we would be online. So we just created a new workspace and kind of had that in there too. So it was just really easy for my boss to just go in there and check what everyone's doing. And I loved it so much that I continued to use it in my personal life, and also coming through the business, and definitely got all the team onto it, because it is a massive help when you're working with people in just different places. And to be honest, even if we were all in the same place, I would still use it, because I love being able to see what I'm working on. Because sometimes you think where your time is going is to, like, for example, social media, but some weeks and months I noticed that my time is going more to like working on the brand side of things, like brand deals and emails. And that's okay every now and then, but if it was every month, that would be a problem. So it's really good to have that and just check yourself, make sure you're on track.
I understand. Cool. Thank you for sharing. And are there any features that you appreciate more than others, or like which are your favorite?
Yeah, I love being able to, I don't know the proper terms. I think it's the categories where you can kind of get very granular as well. Like I use tags to really specify what goals I'm working towards. So we set 3 major goals every year. And I've got those 3 goals in our tags. So every task I work on, I'm kind of always thinking, like, how does this relate to our major goals of the year? And if it relates to one, I'll tick 1, but sometimes it's all 3. And then I can actually go and have a look, how much time did I spend working towards that goal this year, which has been, really helpful. So I do love the tags, but I love seeing all the colors on the wheel at the end of the week. It's really nice.
Actually, the way that you use tags is quite a smart idea, and it's a good idea. I think that I've never heard or seen anyone use tags in that way. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, there's so many users, I couldn't possibly know all of the uses, but it's a really good way. So you've got 3 goals and you've got 3 tags, and then all of the things that you do, you tag under that. That's quite a good idea.
Exactly. Yeah. I've got other tags as well, but those ones I tick at least 1 every task if it relates. If it doesn't relate, I don't tick it off. But it helps keep me on track too. Like if I find I'm working on things that don't relate to the goals, I'm like super aware of that while I'm doing the task. So I won't spend too long on it. So it's very helpful.
Yeah, that's why that came to mind. So that's why I thought it's quite a good idea to stay on track with your goals. So if you could, and you've just mentioned that a little bit, but if you could give kind of a recap of your personal and professional life, what it looked like before and after using Clockify. So what are like the differences?
Yeah, so before I started using Clockify, it was more professional because I didn't track my time for anything, but I love to track my workouts. I track when I do intermittent fasting. I track a lot of different things in my life, but never my productivity and my workload. So it was a no-brainer when my boss started looking at these things. We were definitely on the same page, and I remember he asked me, like, does it feel like I'm watching over your shoulder or micromanaging you if we implement this? And I was like, no, like, this has so many benefits for like each and every one of us. So I got it straight away. We just communicated it to the team like that as well, so they totally understood. And then since using it, I'm way more productive. We were able to achieve all of our financial goals last year, and more. And I think a big part of that is just being able to focus on what we set out to do, and then making sure we have the right time dedicated to that, because it's easy to get distracted. Sometimes there's a task to do that's more fun than another, but it kind of just brings us back to reality and helps us to see like what needs to be worked on. So I think it's just been a massive productivity help for me personally.
Mm-hmm. Awesome to hear that. And would you recommend Clockify to anyone specifically?
I mean, I'm biased because I'm a creator, so I would recommend it to social media creators, but it really could be for any industry, because like I said, you can track anything. So I was even thinking of tracking some personal things, like how long, because I have some personal goals this year, like to run a marathon. And I was like wondering, what if I track it like for every run I go on and things like that. So you can implement it for different things, but for a work sense, it's just so beneficial. It's almost silly not to track it, because then you just don't know what you're working on. You don't know how much time has been spent. So pretty much any industry I would recommend, but definitely creators, because I think creators would get caught in that scroll a lot of the time. So you think you're working, but you're actually just watching TikToks.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you mean. You're researching, but the researching goes on for 5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can you tell us a bit more about your company's plans for the near future, and what do you have in store for your audience and subscribers?
Yeah, so it's really exciting. It's an exciting space to be in at the moment, because it's not a new industry. People have been creating content for a long time, but I definitely think there has been a boom in the creator economy, thanks to platforms like TikTok waking up all the other platforms to now invest in creators. So something we're planning to work on this year and put our full focus into is the Team Tanda app. We run events on there, so we just want to really level up the type of events and just make sure that they're real experiences for our subscribers. And we're always doing a project on social media that's kind of like a larger than life project. So, if you think back through the year created, it's hard to remember. So we try and work on a project that is memorable, at least one. And every year we do a 24-hour live stream and we raise money for charity. So this year we're going to attempt to raise $10,000 in 24 hours. And I think we'll do it, because last year we were able to raise 8,000. So I'm very excited for that this year. So yeah, lots coming up.
Well, good luck with that. Sounds like some amazing goals. And what would be your, like, maybe, I don't know, top 3 pieces of advice for aspiring TikTokers or social media influencers?
Yeah, I would say the first one kind of relates to what we were just talking about with measuring and tracking. Like, I think the number one thing you should do is, if you want to be a social media creator, is 1, get content out, and 2, just measure and track it. Don't just put it out and then look away. Look at the comments, look at the metrics, and see what it's telling you, because that has helped us massively. And also just be yourself. I know it's cheesy, and I know a lot of people say it, but I think there is something truly like missing in the space at the moment. Like, people like to show the best parts of their life, but I feel like now is the time to get vulnerable and, you know, share those things that you usually wouldn't, because I feel like the internet is like ready for it, and will meet you with open arms, hopefully. So my tips would definitely be: post your content, don't think about it too much, track it, and just be yourself and show a vulnerable side of yourself. And I think people will connect with that.
That's awesome advice. And I agree with you on these 3 things. I think that's very important, and would like to thank you for your time today. It was amazing to talk to you and to get to know you better, and to get your company and all of your, you know, your whole journey in this interview. Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much so.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed today's interview. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media.